Last year, at around early November, it was decided that we were going to do a whole new concept, a whole new set, and costume, and just scenic concept for the show, because basically the pieces we were using were falling apart. So at the same time, Mark Masterson decided, well, if we're going to do a whole rebuild of the show, let's rethink it entirely. Let's do even a new script or a new treatment of the story. So he gave me two choices. He said, you can write it, or we'll do somebody else's. And I thought it was worth taking a crack at it, you know, even though I don't have a whole lot of experience as a writer. So in the 10 days between when Christmas Carol closed and January 3rd, I wrote this script. And just fortunately for me, it was presentable enough that Mark accepted it. And so that's when the whole saga for me actually began. There's a reference in the show, it's a Van Helsing line, as a matter of fact. It's about adventure. And it's actually based on something I heard in a radio interview a long time ago with a guy who had sailed all over the world and climbed mountains and hacked his way through the Amazon and things like that. And the interviewer said, my goodness, you've had so many adventures in your life. And he said, actually, the term adventure is used retrospectively in most cases. And adventure, when you're having it, is usually called trouble. So I would say that for the past, since January, I've been on an adventure. It's been a great growth period for me. And I've just got my fingers crossed that it all works out well, because not only myself, but a lot of people have invested a lot of time in this project. It's probably the most, I'm sure it's the most demanding technical production that we have ever done here. I think structurally it's fairly similar to the old one. It follows the same storylines. Well, for one thing, because we have the novel and we have the story that it's based on. But also because I felt that the original playwrights, John Balderson and Hamilton Dean, were good stage craftsmen, and they knew how to compress the story into theatrical length, and how to select what aspects of the story to focus on. What has changed mostly is the language. I felt, and Mark felt, I think, that the language had become outdated. So with my writing of it, I've tried to retain the Victorian style of the play, but also give it a more modern sensibility. They seem more like, I hope, three-dimensional human beings, especially the characters of the good guys, you know, and even the character of Dracula himself. I've tried to sort of add dimension to all of them and make them more believable. My favorite thing about the experience, I guess, has been the collaboration. I've worked with so many talented people. The cast, among others, it's a wonderful group of people. They're all incredibly committed to this. They go at it with a demonic glee, as a matter of fact. All along, the work with the design staff and the technical staff has been just so stimulating and so rewarding. I've directed and acted in this show and others in the past, and it takes a lot of extra mental energy, I suppose, to be working in one way as an actor and at the same time watching what's going on around you. But I've also had a lot of outside eyes in the room helping me. The whole business of being a writer is new to me. So I've learned to work with a dramaturg, for instance, for the first time in my life in that way. The play has changed enormously since the first draft, and all for the better, so I couldn't be more grateful. I've always felt that a tale of terror could work on stage, although I've never seen one before. And other productions of Dracula that I've seen have emphasized maybe a kind of campy quality in the story, or have tried to make the Count a sort of romantic figure, melancholic romantic figure. You know, if I'm asking people to come with any expectations whatsoever, it's not to come with the expectation that we're going to make fun of this story, not to come with the expectation that we think that what Dracula does to people is sexy, but rather to come with the expectation that they're going to see, hopefully, a pretty good, scary melodrama about Count Dracula. And I think in the spirit, certainly, of the novel. I'm really, really anxious to see how the play works for an adult audience. We've had 3 high school, middle school previews now, and they always have a good time. They just scream their brains out, and that's great. But when we get it out in front of adults, it becomes a totally different show. So tonight will be our first crack at a grown-up audience, and I'm really, really anxious to see how it works for them.